Okay, so my next interview is with Nickholas Michell. What's up, Nick?
Hey, what's up?
What is the name of your show?
The name of my show is the Styxxoplix.
What is Styxxoplix?
Styxxoplix has a story. My original name for my stage name or MC name or alter ego was Styx, but that was in high school. I had a partner named Stones, and so we were Sticks and Stones in high school. But then I joined a different group when I lived in Germany. I lived in Germany from 1991 to 2001, and so at that time I joined a group called the Prophets of Rage in Kaiserslautern, Germany, and I was Styx in that group, but it mutated into Styxxoplix like in 1999, and that came from the Mr. Mxyzptlk, which was like an absurd kind of annoying villain of Superman in DC Comics. So it became Styxxoplix because of friends gave me that nickname after years.
What is Styxxoplix?
It's kind of the premise is science fiction, conspiracy theory, aliens, wacky stuff. That's the kind of stuff I cover in the show. I interview writers that are of interest in those kind of topics. So it's
not music?
Well, yeah, it's a combination of things. It's a variety show, I guess you could say, because I do vocal improvisation usually on the introduction before the interview, and then after the interview I have, depending if I have an interview that episode, and if I don't, it's just a kind of artistic presentation of current issues and, written pieces, freestyles, reciting, readings, reviews of books, things like that. It's done in an artistic improvisational manner in order to present topics.
How did you come up with that concept?
The concept slowly came around. I've done stuff at Access, like spoken word videos. I'd had a band presentation. It was kind of like a rock blues band. And so it came, it started that way. And then it came about where I was going to do a podcast with this one guy before the radio show. And then we were going to use that to show that we could do a show here through the radio or whatever. We didn't decide to do it together. And then I decided to go ahead and try it. And then right now I'm on episode, I just finished on, because I record on Sundays, so I don't air live. I've done 109 episodes.
And so when you designed your show, the outlook was specifically what you just said?
It grew into that. It started out where I found out what I wanted to talk about after doing a lot of shows. Kind of the theme was reoccurring through, it just connected that way with
How did it start out then?
It started out with just me for mostly improvisation, old rhymes, using songs. And then I started having live. I haven't had a live guest in a while, but I had some local guests. I've had some local rappers, like a local comedian. But any entertainment locally, I've tried to get live guests in few. And then the phone, like the Skype interviews, are from writers that I discovered from working here, mostly through Twitter.
So what I'm hearing you saying is it has evolved.
I guess you could say
to a variety show, from just you to a variety show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it started out where I wanted to cover, it was supposed to mainly be hip-hop themed, and that still is. It's just that the presentation of the topics have evolved, like what I cover, but the theme to the show has always kind of been the same again, but the evolving of what we're talking about, I guess.
Okay. Is there a connection between the writing and the music then?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. The groups that I was within, I guess I could go off with what influences I have.
And who is your target audience?
Intellectual debates. People don't necessarily agree with each other. All the guests that I interview. So.
Are you a writer yourself?
Yeah, I'm not a published writer, but I write.
What got you interested in this subject matter?
I guess living in Germany, coming across people that I've met who had those kind of interests in those matters, because I was in a group, Prophets of Rage, so it's already controversial. We're trying to cover anti-establishment topics. We're interested in all the secret government conspiracies, or MK Ultra, or whatever you call them, like the brainwashing, the spy, or all these different, theories that.
Do you get any negative feedback with this show?
Usually, the funny thing about it is, everybody thinks it's funny that I'm always usually, I'm not trying to be kind of, but I usually poke fun my guests, but it's because they always know that, because the style of it is in a tradition. I guess one of my influences, Gonzo journalism, Hunter S. Thompson, who's a writer who was more kind of a troublemaker and a mischief maker when he did his journalism. He was on he wrote a book called Fear and Loathing in '72 on the campaign trail with George McGovern, and so he was on the tours with George McGovern, trying to get George McGovern, because he was against Nixon. And so he has his own kind of humorous way of covering things. He's a satirist, too, as well as a journalist. So I guess that's my approach. I'm a satirist as well as a journalist investigating what's accurate. Well, I guess a big inspiration is Public Enemy, because they had a guy who's called a media assassin. His name's Harry Allen, and so his one of his skills is investigative journalism. They want to know what's going on, accurate. Professor Griff, he's also one who uses investigative journalism approach. Controversy because he kind of got a lot of flack for saying that there's connections between Jews and jewelry in the jewelry market. And so he has a very controversial political kind of activist artist. A lot of the topic matters I cover are controversial matters as far as mental health issues.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
How so?
I had an interview with a lady who's from England, who wrote a book called Cultural Perspectives on Mental Well-Being, talking about how the approach of how we treat patients in the psychiatric and pharmaceuticals should be reevaluated, because it's a personal approach in how we treat patients as far as mental health issues, and not in the pharmaceutical assembly line, kind of like, this is what you have to do to take this. This is what you do to heal that. And she does an approach, and that's why I go in those controversial topics, as well as the conspiracy theory. There's the controversial issues of what can be used to treat patient, as far as the pharmaceutical industry, the psychiatric field, and even like with food and everything, across the board, where there's like the controversies of what should be regulated, what should be illegal, what should be used in order to help people.
Wow.
So it all kind of connects.
Emotions move people. Have you considered what emotion you truly want to ignite?
I guess there's a controversial feeling of that there's injustice going on, and that's why I was in a band called Prophets of Rage. That's why I address stuff controversial, rebel. That's why I've influenced like Hunter S. Thompson, who was a rebel in this country. That's why I'm influenced by dissidents like Noam Chomsky, Howard Zinn, who wrote a people's history of America rather than what a media perspective is. You want to get down with the community and see what is actually what is it, classism, what is it, racism, what are the issues, gun issues, what is the school shootings, what are we doing in America to help each other. I'm just so private and quiet. I guess it's difficult for me to even, like, I'm doing the show, but it's like socially it took a long time. I mean, I started here through the Carriage House. It took me a long time to even be sociable.
Okay.
I've been introverted for a while. That's why I read a lot of books.
Oh, listen, does this radio show then give you voice that you didn't even know you had?
I guess it has helped me to be sociable. I mean, there's ups and downs, everything. It's experience, definitely. There's never a dull moment as far as with trying to reach out and be more, open with people. That's took me a while to do that.
This is the final question. What does community radio mean to you?
Community radio is an exchange of ideas, services, and how we can help each other in our lives as far as local life, I guess.
Very cool. This is Nickholas Michell of the Styxxoplix Show. Thank you, sir.